2026, you have to normalize divorcing unnecessary suffering. There comes a time in a man's life where you have to realize that not everything that is happening in your life is meant to happen. Without that realization, one continues down the slope of unnecessary suffering, tumbling down the rabbit hole until you find out that there's no wonderland. But your life is just heading in the direction of an abyss that is bottomless and dark, where dreams are dead, where there's no life, where there's no realization of any goals, and your life just becomes an existence. You cease to live, and you find out that years, decades passed, and you did not become who you were supposed to be, who you were meant to be, and put on this earth to be. There's no shame that is absolutely consuming like the shame of waking up to a life that you know that it does not reflect the truth about who you are. So this video is about awakening everyone that has decided consciously or unconsciously to marry fear. Let me tell you a story about fear. Fear. First, you compromise with it, right? You get in a dance of compromising with fear. Before you know it, you are dating fear. Ooh. And now, few months later, you're in a relationship with fear, committed relationship, exclusive. Fear becomes a norm. It takes the center of your heart and you listen to it. You get in a relationship with it, it's going. And before you know it, you already said, I do to fear. Now you're married. There's contracts and oaths that you've signed with fear. You said, I do to fear. Everybody here knows what I'm talking about. There's no one that is not inflicted with the disease of fear on this planet. Everybody. We all on a spectrum. There are people that are highly filled with fear to every bone, every cell is paralyzed by fear. And there are those in whom the virus and disease of fear is still traveling up and down the system. It's still trying to assimilate every part of your being, and little by little, it is consuming every part of your life. So before it paralyzes you completely, allow me to awaken you to the reality of what is happening to the human race, myself and you. This is the story of an invisible enemy that is very much alive. Fear is the monster, the bully that you have to be very careful of. I'm telling you, under the sun, there's many monsters and bullies I've encountered, and not one of them beats fear. Fear is the giant and Goliath of them all. I've seen it paralyze kings. I've seen it paralyze royalty. I've seen it turn kings into tyrants. I've seen it turn people that were here and make them fall right to the ground. Fear can destroy you if you let it. So if you've been dating it, if you've been married to it for several years, please lift that banner of I'm married to fear and just face the fact that that is I do not want to swear in this video. That is a horrible marriage that you are in. An abusive marriage with fear. One of the reasons why I started this channel was to face fear. I looked at my life, and growing up, I couldn't understand why I felt like I was so imprisoned. I felt afraid every day. I felt so unsafe in my own life, unsafe in my own skin, afraid to even hear the sound of my own voice. I felt so scared. I couldn't get it. I didn't understand why. All I knew was I was a slave to fear. All I knew was I had been gifted with the gift of life, and I wasn't living this life according to my terms or God's terms. I basically saw how not only myself, but the rest of the human race was, oh man. Weren't we all puppets? Weren't we all dancing to the strings that were being pulled by fear itself? I could see how everyone moved according to the tune of fear, the beat of fear. It tells you jump, and you don't even ask how high. You just jump very high because that is how much fear can make you so afraid. It makes you so compliant to suffering, unnecessary suffering. This video is to awaken everyone that knows that you've been shrinked, you've been reduced to living in a box when you could be free. This video is for that mother who knew that she's more than a mother. She's not just a mother. She is a person with dreams and many places that she wants to go. But because of fear, her life was reduced to just one title, a mother, and she never got to experience the beauty of having her own life, the beauty of having her own goals, her own dreams, going to places that she dreamed of. This video is for that woman who was abused but kept quiet because society normalizes gender violence. This video is for that man who was also abused but kept quiet because if he was to speak up, then society would judge him and say, don't be a sissy. This video is for that person who was sent to prison even though they were innocent but had no one to advocate for them. Because injustice has become a culture, a norm, something that we normalize when it's not supposed to be normalized. This video is for that person that is a tenant whose deposit was not given back to them because this landlord happened to have power to just say, I'm not going to give it back to you. Toxic landlords. They know that you don't have power over them. They know they can drag you to court. Well, you can drag them to court, and then you find yourself being dragged by them to court because they've got the money to bribe every Tom and Jerry in the system to ensure that they are the ones that get to win. What can you say? You end up losing more money than you thought you were going to gain from having your deposit back. I was a victim of that, living under a tyrannical landlord who just decided, I'm not going to give you your deposit back. And what could I do? I was under the shackles of fear. I could not say a word. Before I could even say anything, I was blocked. Fear. If you do not face it, it will reduce you to nothing. It will consume your life. It will take over every part of your life and destroy it piece by piece. Sometimes very fast at the speed of lightning. You won't even realize things just tumble down overnight. This video is for that person that knows that they are more than just an academic student. They are more than just good at sports. But somehow they are afraid of saying, hey, I actually am passionate about this and that too. I'm not just all about sport. I'm not just an academic. I also have dreams beyond what you guys know about me. But society was busy pushing them into a category, a label to say, no, you stay here, you must do this. This is the life that we want you to live. These are the dreams that you're supposed to achieve for us. This video is for the people pleasers who were crippled by fear and they found themselves just pleasing in the hopes that their needs will be met, but they were not met because they were afraid of speaking the truth that, hey, actually, I don't want to do this, but the reason why I'm doing this is that I secretly hope that you will be sensitive to my needs and maybe one day, someday, other days, many days, help me out. But they found themselves in a cycle of people pleasing, and all that was happening was self-erosion. You would disappear. You would live for meeting people's needs whilst your own are piling up like Mount Everest. Boy, fear can destroy your life. We have made it a culture, a norm in this society to glorify suffering. Why? The statement that you often hear is, it's God's will. It's not yet time for me to achieve this. No, darling. No. Suffering is not honorable if that suffering hinders you from being the fullest potential that God wants you to be, from being the person that is able to make an impact. Look at the body. Look at the way the body functions. Every part is serving its purpose. The hand does its job. The leg does its job. The face does its job. All the parts of the face do their part. Every day they serve their purpose. Likewise, every person on this planet has a role to play. And only when we all stand and realize that without each other, if one of us is crippled and dysfunctional, then all of us are going to suffer. Every star has a place, its own unique place in the galaxy. This is a reflection of how we meant to operate as a people. When people perceive and realize that God is not dumb, everyone has their own place. By you doing well, it doesn't dim someone else's light. Actually, you doing well means that we all get to enjoy and benefit from that. If my hand is wounded, who gets to suffer? The whole body suffers. So then why is it that there is this continual envy and jealousy and wanting to bring each other down? It's because we have been taught by fear that if they rise, then I get reduced. But you need to let go of that illusion. Delusion. It's only when each and every one of us rise from the shackles of fear that we will be able to stop suffering. It's only when we learn to celebrate each other's healing and growth and progress that we will become a society that is healthy. Why don't we get it? We've been given the body to understand how we're supposed to function. Every cell is doing its part. If some part of my body is wounded, what happens? The rest of the body works hard together to make sure that that wound is healed. That is how society is meant to function. If one of us is suffering, then everybody else, if we come together, that wound will be sorted. And before you know it, that part that is healed not only lives for itself, but it also benefits the whole entire society. Every part of the body gets to benefit. If my hand was wounded and now it's fine, the whole body benefits. But fear teaches you that, no, I'm supposed to be the only one that is doing well. If I'm not doing well, if other people get to rise, then I'm in danger. That is the voice of fear, the voice of the devil himself. Fear makes you see things that are not even there. There is no unhealthy competition. But somehow fear makes you live in this reality that, I'm always have to compare myself with other people. We've been given nature to learn from, physical things to learn from. But somehow fear has blinded us from learning common sense. Indeed, common sense is not common. So, why are you still married to fear? It's because fear doesn't want you to look at it. Right? The nature of fear is that often whatever you are afraid of, you are going to be so scared of looking at it. Why? Why are we scared of looking at that thing that you're afraid? If it's a person, if you're scared of them, look at how you react around them. You won't want to give them direct eye contact. You won't want to look at them. That is fear. It makes you look away. Tells you look away. But that is the lie that you have to debunk and realize that actually, let me look. Because the more you look, the more you realize that there is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. Write down everything that you are afraid of. Take stock of your life. Ask yourself, what is it that I know from the bottom of my soul that by now I should have achieved? If only I did not allow fear to rule over me, to reign over me and dictate, telling me what to do, where to turn, left or right, sit down. Write down. At some point as a society, we need to wake up and realize that we were all born with a reservoir of so much gifts and talents. But just like Pharaoh, who threw so many babies in the Nile River, and nobody got to see the fruition of those babies' lives, what accomplishment they could have made, what impact they could have made, what difference they could have made in people's lives and their own lives. It just becomes a lost dream. That's what fear does. While you are pregnant with all these gifts, these talents, it makes you have a miscarriage. It takes that baby. It takes your gift and throws it away into the abyss. And before you know it, you feel hollow. You jump from relationship to relationship thinking you'll find some form of relief, only to find that no, I'm not looking for people. I'm looking for myself. I'm trying to find myself. Fear took my voice. Decades of my life, I lived them so afraid of speaking. Believe it or not, I was so terrified of speaking. Why? Because I knew that my greatest power was in my words. I was the bearer of truth. I could not understand how one can be okay with living a delusional life. So I would avoid every lie that I would see by all means possible. The only lies that I tried not to avoid were the ones that fear were telling me that you better sit down in that lie and swim in it. So I made sure that I made this channel to study fear, to look at it, and I vowed to destroy it. To destroy it just like I saw it destroying so many people's lives in my generation and my ancestors' lives generations ago. This channel is about truth and justice and reclaiming the life that you deserve. You're going to reclaim your life by learning how to look at the very thing that you are afraid of. You're going to reclaim the life that God truly wants you to live by facing fear. You have to face it. And God is faithful. He does not allow us to be tempted beyond what we can bear. So if there's any Goliath in your life right now, you have to trust. You have to trust. You have to trust that you have everything it takes to defeat that Goliath. Some of you, your Goliaths are finances. Others, your Goliaths are health issues, chronic health issues. Others, continual abuse in relationships. Others, family drama. Others, being scapegoated. Others, there's a lot of issues, right? And some of us have accepted those issues as a part of our lives. We've made it a culture. Like, it's okay to live like this. My life has always been like this. It's okay. It is what it is. No, it's not. It shouldn't be like that. Goliath was not defeated by the power of David himself. He was defeated by David relying on God. So if God has allowed you to have that specific struggle, you need to trust. You need to trust that God will equip you with what you need, the strength you need, the power you need to defeat that enemy. But you must first recognize what is wrong. You must first recognize what is wrong in your life. If you don't realize that something is off here, you will continue to accept it and nothing will change. For instance, I grew up from house to house. Growing up was such a horrifying experience for me. Having lost my parents at the age of 6 and 11, I really felt so destitute, for lack of a better word. All I ever wished for was to have a home that I could call my own. And because I've never seen anyone actually be able to achieve the dreams that God placed in my heart, it became so scary for me to even think that it's possible for me to achieve them. I continued to try to achieve them, and I continuously stumbled and failed to. But one day, even though I would try to say and speak my dreams out loud to those around me, and none of the people understood, one day, the heavens heard me, and I saw God open opportunities for me that no man can ever give me or no man can ever take away from me. I saw God hear the cry of my heart that I could not voice out in words. My heart would just cry out for justice. Lord, look at my generation. Lord, look at my family. Something is wrong here. Isn't someone going to stand up to this poverty? Isn't someone going to stand up and say no to these relationship dramas? Isn't someone going to say no to these family issues? Why are we accepting this way of living? It is, goodness me, it's even choking now thinking of it. But I decided I was going to stand up to every form of injustice that I saw in my life. And even though I did not know how I was going to achieve that goal, the heavens opened and God heard my cry, and He decided to say, my daughter, I will stand by you and help you. I will help you. And because of His strength, there's nothing that I won't be able to achieve. I decided I'm going to reclaim my soul from the devil himself, because I know that Satan rules over us through fear. And if you allow him to continue to have his way in your life, then your soul actually belongs to him without you even realizing it. So I decided I will take back everything that belongs to me and give it to its rightful owner, which is Father God. And every dream that I have, I will allow myself the permission to actually get it. There's things that people rationalize and say, you can't achieve this because, oh, you're being greedy. No, it's not greed. You will know when something is greed. But even things, basic needs, guys, basic needs, like I need a home. I need a home. I need to live. I need to survive on this planet. Some of us have even don't believe that you deserve to have those things. But doesn't God Himself say, look at the birds of the earth, they neither sow nor reap nor store in barns, yet their heavenly Father feeds them? Are you not much more faith? Are you not much more worthy than they? Where is your faith? We are more valuable than birds, but somehow we've allowed fear to really mess up our brains and tell us that, oh, you can't have this. You can't have this. But you have to realize that without standing up to fear, the cycle of shameful suffering continues. The suffering that we need to accept is honorable suffering. A suffering where you know that I am fighting for the right thing, and it's okay for me to go through these hardships because they are necessary for me to achieve my purpose. Just like Jesus, there were sufferings and hardships that he had to go through because they were necessary for him to accomplish his God given mission. You must know the difference. You must know the suffering that God allows because they are there to prune you and help you achieve your mission, and the suffering that the devil just imposes on you and you accept. You can't just blame the devil. It takes two to tango. He gives it to you and you must accept it. There are people that say no. So if the suffering is continuing in your life, that means you are in a contract. You agreed to that suffering. So I hope that through this video, 2026 can be that year where you get to decide to say, nah, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I am going to get what I need to get that I know belongs to me. Instead of you waiting around for someone to hand it to you, decide to take it. Reclaim what belongs to you. Just like the parable of the persistent widow, she continued to insist and go to the unjust judge and say, grant me justice against my adversary. You must have the same attitude. Shameless audacity. The audacity of that friend who was visited by a friend in the middle of the night and he didn't have bread to give the visitors, and then he decided, oh, I'm going to go visit a friend and ask them for bread so that I can give my visitors. In the middle of the night, he was able to do that. Imagine how embarrassing that is. Imagine how difficult it is to knock on someone's door and say, can you give me bread? I've got visitors that I didn't expect would come. But because of his shameless audacity, the friend was able to give him that bread and say, okay, yeah. And we are promised that we will have what we need if we have that shameless audacity. So the formula to overcome fear is to know the truth and fight with the truth and use the truth to have whatever you know truly belongs to you. Reclaim your identity, reclaim your life. Write down those big goals and go for them. When you decide, you have to make a decision. You can't wait for your feelings to be okay. They will catch up with you. Right? They will catch up. You can't wait to feel like, okay, now I'm going to achieve that dream. No, you have to write it down. I already told myself I'm going to get the house of my dreams before my birthday this year, July 25. And I will, because I know that this message is going to touch many lives. And this is just the beginning. There's nothing that God put here that's going to remain unfulfilled. I will achieve everything through the strength that Christ provides me. Watch the space. Watch the space. Can't believe I said that. It was the first time saying that statement. I hope this video inspires you. I hope this video reminds you of who you are. I hope this video inspires you to take courage and just rise. Choose to be who you are meant to be. Choose to say no where you're supposed to say no. Choose to live a life of truth, not a lie. We only have one life. Time and chance happens to all men. We have this fighting chance to actually live a life that feels true to ourselves and a life that is honorable in God's eyes and everyone's eyes as well. So, may this be your inspiration to start this year with a clear direction. I will not bow down to fear. I will not bow down to the tyranny of fear, because fear is not my friend. Fear is like a snake that slithers and rattles, and sometimes it looks shiny, promising you fake comfort. But I tell you, it's only a matter of time before it strikes, and the poison of fear starts to move through the rest of your life and cripple every aspect of your life until you won't be able to recognize yourself. Before you know it, you yourself become someone of the past. You would have faded away, because that's the nature of fear. It makes you fade away. Fade away. You just become nothing. Let that not be you. God believes in us. God believes in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, at least dare to allow the belief that God has in you to take root and be your inspiration to take that first step forward. You can do it. Join my mission and let's break every shackle and destroy fear together. It does not have power over us. We get to decide, and our decision is it ends today, 1 January 2026. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.